Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the MMA Corner Fight Show. As always, this episode is brought to you by Battle Bomb, the only pain reliever with the knockout power. BattleBomb.com. Check them out. DraftKings. I don't even know what to say about DraftKings. If you haven't figured it out, they are the leading place for fantasy anything. Baseball, soccer, hockey, football, basketball. If it's a sport, MMA, whatever, if there's a sport, it's all over it. So definitely DraftKings.com, check them out. And then Draft Ops. Guys, why do I love Draft Ops? Because they're the only company out there that focuses on Bellator. Yes, I do love Bellator. I follow Bellator. I'm a big Bellator guy. And yes, I do play fantasy MMA when it comes to Bellator. Draft Ops is the place to do it. Get on there, check it out. Between DraftKings and Draft Ops, I know they're probably going to get mad at me for saying this. These two companies, they're the bomb when it comes to making fantasy sports easy. It's easy to sign up. It's easy to play. They have tournaments running every day. They pay out the same day. It's freaking beautiful. Love them. DraftKings, Draft Ops, definitely check them out. I'm your host, Josh Davis, alongside my co-host, Jose Youngs. Jose, what's up, brother?
It is 2 days away from the biggest sporting event of the first 15 years of this century, so I am pretty ecstatic, and I just want it to be fight night.
So, the biggest sporting event in the last 15 years?
I think so.
Is this bigger than the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because the Super Bowl happens every year. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Huh.
Every year you can count on the Super Bowl happening, and I feel like this fight has been talked about. Like, if the Super Bowl happened every 10 years, then yeah, I would say the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I think
let me ask you this.
Way better, way bigger.
So, we just had the Super Bowl in February. Now here we are, about to be May 2nd is when the fight takes place, live from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Only way you can see it, unless you're Magic and have tickets, is on pay-per-view. So let me ask you this, Jose. Who's going to have better numbers, the Super Bowl or Pacquiao Mayweather?
Oh, I think that's a little difficult to determine, just because like one is a pay-per-view and one is on like network television. It's like I can't remember what channel was on the Super Bowl was on this year, but it's always on. Like, even if you don't have like channels like the basic 1 through 60, and you only have like those 8 channels, you still have the Super Bowl channel. So pretty much it's impossible to miss the Super Bowl, and you can go anywhere and not even have to, like, you don't have to pay a cover to watch the Super Bowl in most bars. You're going to have to pay like $30 just to get into a bar and watch this fight. So, and this one costs $100. So I think it's like, you don't really like the Super Bowl, you see the numbers, you see the ratings and everything, you see the viewers, but then in pay-per-views, you see the buys and how much it's gross. So it's weighted differently. So I think they're comparable, but I don't think you can really compare it like that.
No, it was a loaded question. I don't think you can compare it like that at all, to be real honest. I think we're talking about apples and oranges. Is it the biggest sporting event in the last 15 years? I could easily argue that. I could easily argue that it's the biggest sporting event of my lifetime, and I'm 40 years old. So I've seen a lot of great sporting events. But one thing that I haven't seen is a fight that's literally been talked about for years. We're going on, 4 or 5 years of everyone talking about this fight. Now, in MMA, we've had talks of super fights like GSP versus Anderson Silva. Not a fight that I ever wanted to see, but many people out there did. It was a fight that was talked about, never panned out, never came to fruition. Anderson Silva versus John Jones, a fight that I really wanted to see. Again, a super fight that never happened. It's very rare that fights like these actually happen, whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, it doesn't matter. Now, obviously, I grew up at the end of Muhammad Ali, and I grew up all through the Tyson era. There was no fight with any of those guys from the time I was born that had the hype of this. Yes, there was the hype around Tyson Evander Holyfield, and had Tyson not gone to jail, maybe that fight at that time could have ranked with this, because again, at that time, it was really the only fight anyone in boxing was talking about. So yeah, I'll have to agree that this is probably the biggest sports spectacle that we're going to see for a while. And I made a comment the other day on the radio station here in Denver, Mile High Sports, that I do the radio show for, that I think if Floyd Mayweather wins this fight, it's the end of boxing. I pretty much think boxing's on life support as it is. And I think if Floyd wins this fight, it's going to kill boxing. It's going to have a ripple effect that boxing will never be able to come back from. And part of that is because a lot of people that would have gone into boxing are now going into MMA and other combat sports that are on the rise out there. So I don't know. Jose, what are your thoughts? I know I got blasted here. I'll be real honest. I got blasted by my listeners. I got blasted on Twitter. But I stand by that comment. I think that if Floyd wins this fight, boxing is going to suffer.
I don't think it will be the end of it, because you obviously have, like, Canelo is huge in Mexico, and you could say it could ripple effect in the United States, but Canelo and Marquez are obviously huge in Mexico, and the Mexican audience will always tune into whenever they fight. Not so the U.S. fans will, but obviously they're like icons where they are. And Gennady Golovkin is huge. I can't remember exactly where he's from. He's like from the Ukraine or like one of those areas, and he's huge. I think he is the future of boxing. I think most people can agree with that. The problem is no one wants to fight him, and you can't build him as a superstar because people are just avoiding him. Nobody wants to fight this guy because he's so young, and he's knocks pretty much everybody out he's ever fought, and he's not fighting slouches. He's just fighting. He's one of those like Donald Cerrone kind of guys where he'll just fight anybody you give him. He doesn't matter if they're 11-0 or 50-0. He'll fight them, and he'll most likely knock them out. And obviously you got Bernard Hopkins out there, and I know he's going to retire anytime soon. So you still have a few names, but if Mayweather wins, I don't know where Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather go if Floyd Mayweather wins. If Manny Pacquiao wins, it's the obvious one is an immediate rematch. And then Floyd Mayweather will fight the last fight on his contract and then ride off into the sunset unless he loses again. And I'm sure they're going to want to do a trilogy. But if Floyd Mayweather wins, I don't know where either of these two guys go because there's not much out for them. Because how can you sell an Amir Khan fight with either of these two guys after this fight? Like it's almost impossible to even hype any other fight between these two since you're finally seeing them fight each other.
I agree. I don't think you can hype any other fight unless you just want to see a fight. Now, that's completely different. Now, when I say boxing is dead, understand that boxing is never going to die. As long as there is human beings and they have two fists, they're going to throw them at each other. They are going to box. It's been around for as long as we've been around, and it will continue to be around as long as we have fists to throw at people. So boxing's never going to die. But what I mean by my statement is this. There's a bunch of great Latino, Hispanic boxers out there, even Brazilian boxers out there. And I mean this with all due respect, but the peso's worthless. Okay, you can box in Mexico all you want. You can sell out an arena with 1 million people. But when you're fighting for pesos, you're not making any money. The reason why the American and European population is so important to boxing is because we're the ones that pay the salaries. You take the American money and the European money off the table, and these guys aren't making anything. Even the best, the big names aren't making anything because, again, the value that these other countries have to offer just isn't there. And so that's why I say this will have a significant ripple effect, because after this fight, trust me, there is not going to be another $100 pay-per-view anytime ever, to be real honest, if Pacquiao loses this fight. Now, if Pacquiao is able to win, boom, like you said, immediate rematch, and guess what? It won't be $100 pay-per-view. It'll be $125, $150 pay-per-view. I guarantee it. It will go up. But if Pacquiao loses, there's not another fight that I want to see Pacquiao win, so he's off in the sunset. Other than, just a backyard beatdown, there's no fight that I want to see Floyd in. So there's no big names on the horizon. There's no big fights. And yes, there are other big fighters out there. But again, give me another matchup. There's not a matchup with the Klitschko brothers that anyone wants to see. I mean, there aren't big fights out there other than this one, and so it's big for boxing to have Pacquiao win. It's a must.
And even if Floyd Mayweather wins and we get, if it's, say it's controversial and it's so close and Floyd Mayweather wins it because he probably will get the nod because it's in his home, the MGM Grand. If he does get the nod and it's so, like, it's one of those split decisions so close, like anybody could win, I bet that wouldn't be so bad, because then that might be an easy sell to do a rematch immediately just because it was so close. Or say it's just a war and both men are left like bloodied and bruised, and it's like another like Mickey Rourke and Arturo Gatti kind of fight, and it's just like an all-time classic, and then that could set up another rematch even if Mayweather wins. But if Mayweather just goes out there and schools Pacquiao, I agree. There's nothing after that for either of these two men, I think. And I know Floyd Mayweather has 2 fights left, but Manny Pacquiao has made it known that he's going to keep fighting. He wants to keep fighting, and he might be hurting for money. I know you hear rumors that he's only boxing because he needs the money, because he's in like tax problems and what have you. But Floyd Mayweather doesn't need the money. He can fight 2 more and retire and spend $100 million a year and still have money left over. So, but yeah, there's not much for either of these two men after this if Floyd Mayweather just dominates.
No, I'm not Manny Pacquiao's accountant. I don't know anything about his tax troubles. But I do know that for 4 years in a row, the guy made over $200 million through boxing, through his concerts, through all that other kind of stuff that he does. He basically owns the Philippines. I don't know how he could need any kind of money. And even if he does have tax troubles, again, he owns the Philippines. He's the king, so he could go back there and not have a single dime, and he would still live a life better than you and I. So I don't know. I think he boxes because he loves it. I think he boxes because he's a boxer and he doesn't know how to do anything else. He boxes and he sings and he wants to be a politician. But
he plays basketball.
There you go. But just like most athletes that continue on, they do it because that's what they know. It's not easy for people to give up. Obviously, Floyd doesn't need money. He has more money than God, and it's been reported that, and this just baffles me, but it's been reported that if Floyd Mayweather wins this fight, he's already told his good friend, rapper Suge Knight, that he'll pay his $10 million bond in cash to get him out of jail.
Of course it's in cash.
Cool, crisp $100 bills, so I don't know. But all right, enough rambling. Let's break it down. First off, right off the bat, keys to victory for Floyd. What does Floyd need to do to win this fight, Jose?
I think Floyd needs to do what he always does. I mean, this is like a contrasting style where Floyd, like Manny Pacquiao, is like has incredible speed and is he likes to push the pace, and he excels in like Michael, like how, I'm not comparing them, but like you always hear like Demetrius Johnson and Michael Bisping, like their biggest tool is their cardio, and they're going as fast as they are in the final round as they are in the first round. And that is Manny Pacquiao's biggest weapon, is where he can keep that pace up, get in your face. He's a southpaw, so he's throwing a left straight, not a left jab. I know Floyd Mayweather has shown that his biggest defensive weakness, if you can even call it a weakness, because he's the greatest defensive boxer ever, is he doesn't always block the jab, or he'll try and do like that duck jab. He'll try and do like that fake jab and then hit him with his own. But if he does that with Pacquiao and he tries to dodge a jab to go in with his own jab, he's going right into a straight left, just because they're crossing jabs. They're both coming at each other at the same angle, where Manny Pacquiao's jab is going to cross exactly where Floyd Mayweather's jab is, because they're opposites. One's orthodox, one's southpaw. So if he tries to do the Muhammad Ali, like again, the rope-a-dope against the cage, against the rope, where he goes back and then hits him with the jab. If he goes forward, he's going right into a left hand. And if that happens, Manny Pacquiao is going to that's not going to be a long fight if Manny Pacquiao wins that vaunted straight left multiple times on Floyd Mayweather. Like you saw in the end of the first round, I believe, I can't remember if it was the first. I believe it was the first fight with Maidana, where right at the end, like right when the bell was going on, Maidana threw a jab, and Mayweather like ducked it and then went in to throw a jab of his own, and he ran right into an overhand right from Maidana that wobbled him. And the rest of the fight, you saw Mayweather kind of play defensive and kind of not run away, but like, you know how Mayweather does, where he'll like dodge a punch and then just like kind of pat you with the face. Like, it was a defensive wizardry at its best, but he can't do that against Mayweather, because if he goes that direction, he's going into the straight left from Pacquiao. So if it's true that he did not watch any tape on Pacquiao, which I believe, he could be in for a long night if Manny lands that punch flat in the first round.
Well, first off, I want to say that I love boxing, but boxing would be a lot cooler if it was in a cage.
Right.
You know, just throwing that out there. But here's the thing. Floyd, I equate Floyd. Floyd's the GSP of boxing. You know, he doesn't fight. He's in there. He's a strategist, and we've seen that time and time again. Floyd has not fought anybody in years. He's gone out there, and like you said, he's pitter-patted them to death, outpointed people, and won rounds, and that's what makes him so effective. And if you really watch Floyd, he fights, well, he doesn't ever fight. He boxes for about a minute and a half of every round, and he does it in smart sequences. He's always heavy at the end of the round, and he's always heavy right in the middle of the round. And sometimes he'll start, you know, kind of quick, but he takes a lot of time off. He conserves his energy so he can go the distance, so he can keep up that pace. But he takes a lot of time off, dancing around, you know, looking like he's doing something, but he's really not. He is just conserving his energy. And he lands some pitter-pat shots, gets the crowd going, woo, judges see it, they like it. And this is really how Floyd wins fights. He doesn't dominate anyone. He just outpoints them, and he is a mastermind at doing that. He doesn't really throw power shots. He's not in there to knock fools out anymore. He's an old man. He's in there to pitter-pat, not get hit himself, and win rounds. If he's able to do his normal stuff against Manny, he's going to frustrate Manny, and he's going to be able to do these things. The big key for Floyd is to do exactly that. Make Manny chase him. Get Manny pissed off because Floyd doesn't want to fight. Make Manny throw big, heavy punches that he can counter real easy, and just dance around him for 12, 15 rounds and pretty much win every round and get the victory. That's what Floyd does. And Floyd, we know, is going to take off the 5th, 6th, 7th, probably even the 8th round, and just be in there running circles, not doing much. And so that's what Floyd needs to do to win this fight, to be real honest. He needs to be Floyd. He needs to be the fighter that we all hate, that we can't stand to watch because it's garbage. But that's what's going to get him to 42-0. You know, that's really what it's going to take.
48-0.
Yeah, 48-0. Sorry.
And I would say the only time he really does throw power shots is when he sees that opening, because, you know, he does. Floyd Mayweather, like, the most frustrating thing he does is he will clinch, but he'll go at their waist and kind of go up, so he'll get underneath their elbows, and then he'll like rest for a few seconds, and then get separated. And then if, like, when he fought Mosley tried to, like, when he tried to break away from it, as soon as he saw Floyd try to go up, he would push him away, and then he ate like 5, like a combo, like a 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right on his head. And if Manny Pacquiao tries to do that, same thing's going to happen. And similarly, when Mosley would try, if I remember this correctly, when Mosley would try and clinch the same way, Floyd does that cheap thing where he like puts his elbow straight up to try and, like, it looks like he's stopping it, but Mosley would run right into his elbow, and then he like get caught, and then he eat 5 more punches. Or when like Floyd would, like, when he would try and clinch, when Mosley would try and clinch with Floyd on the waist, Floyd would kind of like choke him with his arm almost. Like he'd get, like, Mosley's head was under his armpit, and then Floyd would like toss him to the side and then just like right hook him like immediately. And Floyd is a master of using the tying up, like those 2 seconds he's tied up. Floyd is doing so much damage, catching his breath and doing damage. So it's almost impossible to defend that. So as it could be, if that's the case, it's going to be an incredibly boring fight, but it's kind of fun to watch a master do what they do best, even if it is boring, because you're waiting for somebody to figure that out. And Manny Pacquiao could be that person, but we haven't seen that nobody. 47 people have failed, and I don't know if Manny Pacquiao can do it.
And that's the key. 47 people have failed. And when I say Floyd Mayweather doesn't throw power punches, what I mean by that is he's not, throwing Mike Tyson like punches. Yes, he's throwing punches to cause pain and hurt you and that kind of stuff, but he's not throwing the big, heavy punches that exert all of your energy, that when you throw 5 of them in a row, you're hurt, you're tired. He doesn't do that. He conserves his energy.
Like Nick Diaz, he'll do like 20%, 20, 20, 50, and then and then by the 12th round, he'll do like 60, 60, 60, 100. Like, he just frustrates you, and then by the end of the fight, you're eating his power shots. It's unbelievable to watch.
It is. It is. It's amazing to watch. I hate it. Well, I don't hate it. I hate Floyd. I don't like Floyd. I think he's bad for boxing. I think he's a bad human being, plain and simple. From what I've seen. Anyways, I have to be honest. I've never met Floyd Mayweather. I've never hung out with him, so I don't know. But everything that I've seen about the guy has really not been good. So his style, though. I mean, I like I said, I equate it to GSP and MMA. I equate it to the San Antonio Spurs and basketball. You might not like it, but holy crap, is it effective? Is it successful? And until someone figures it out, he's going to continue to do that. So let's talk about that someone figuring it out. What are the keys to victory for Manny Pacquiao? Jose?
I would say the biggest thing Manny Pacquiao needs to do that he never does is put his hands up. I mean, he likes to go laterally, like you see, like for all the MMA fans out there, like Dominic Cruz goes left to right and then rushes in, and that's kind of how Manny is. He'll go left to right, circling his opponent, and then rush in with a flurry or a counter punch and follow up with a right hook to the body or an uppercut. And if he doesn't keep his hands up, like when he fought Cotto, he would rush in, hit him with the jab, and then circle to the right. But Cotto would catch him with those rights because his hands are down. Yeah, Manny would hit the body shot, but he'd eat a counter punch on the way in, on the way out, and the way in. He would eat a 1 and then a 2, so they would basically counter each other's punches. And if he does that, Floyd is probably the best. He is the best counter puncher in the game. And if he wants to even compete with Floyd on the feet, he's going to have to keep his hands up. He's going to have to land that straight left, and he's going to have to go to the body because even Floyd's hands are brittle. Like, people don't realize that. Like, Floyd Mayweather breaks his hands all the time. And if he can push him into the water, and if he can frustrate Floyd with his barrage and not giving Floyd the time to dance around, and even if he clinches up, don't try and push him away. Just clinch up, let him go, and then rush in again. And then eventually Floyd Mayweather could get it flustered because like what Rafael dos Anjos did to Pettis, he just glued himself to Pettis' chest and did not give him any breathing room. And I think that is exactly what Manny Pacquiao needs to do. He needs to push him against the cage and cut off his angles and just stay right on him the entire fight and not give Floyd Mayweather any chance to counterpunch or extend his arms and do that left jab followed by the crazy right hook from his waist. If Floyd has time to do that, then it's going to be a long night for Manny.
Well, I think there's a couple different ways that Manny could go about this. And, obviously I'm not his striking coach. We all know who that is. And again, it's not me. I'm certainly not game planning him for the fight, but there are two things that he can do. One is he can be Manny. He can go out and try and pressure Floyd and go that route and see how it works out for him. However, I think that strategy would have been better 5 years ago, but he's had some miles since then. He's been knocked out. He, had the horrible loss. He's had some miles put on him over the last 5 years. I think he's definitely slowed down. I don't think he punches as fast, and I don't think he punches as hard. So what I would do if I am Manny Pacquiao is I'm going to make Floyd fight me. Instead of chasing Floyd around, I'm going to be on the back pedal. Okay, I'm going to make Floyd chase me down, and then when he gets close enough, I'm going to win the foot battle. I'm going to be on the outside working in all night long. I'm going to make sure that my lead foot is on the outside of his so I can dictate where he goes. He can't scoot around me like he wants to because I'll just cut him off. I've got the angles, and that is the key for Manny to win this fight, because that's what's going to frustrate Floyd. That's going to let Floyd know he can't just dance around because I'm on top of that. He is going to have to fight me, and either he beats me up or I beat him up, but that's how it's going to be. It's not going to be a boxing match. He's not going to be able to pitter-pat me all night long. He is going to have to fight me. And if he knocks me out, that's great. But he is going to have to fight me, and it all starts with the foot battle. The biggest thing is making sure that his lead leg is on the outside of Pacquiao's, or I mean of Mayweather's. That will dictate where the fight takes place, because anything Floyd tries to do, Pacquiao has the angle. He can cut it off. And so it all starts with the foot battle. He has got to win the foot battle and turn this into a fight. If he allows Floyd to dance around him and turn this into a boxing match, again, like I said, Floyd's going to pitter-pat him. He's going to take some rounds off, but he's going to overall do enough to win. Manny can't allow that to happen. And here's the other thing. When Floyd takes off the 4th, 5th, 6th round like he tends to do, Manny's got to turn it up. He's got to put on the pressure. That's when he's got to actually chase Floyd down. He can't let Floyd rest during those rounds. He's got to put the pressure on Floyd. Even if they don't exchange in any significant strikes, put the pressure on him. Don't let Floyd dictate how much energy he's going to exert. Manny's got to do that. Get him tired. So again, in the 10th, 11th, 12th round, it's an even playing field. Otherwise, it's going to be a typical night for Floyd, and he'll be 48-0. And boxing will be dead.
And I honestly, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win, but I can't, it's hard to bet against Floyd Mayweather. I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd probably put money on Manny, just because it's not so out of the question that Manny will win, and he is the underdog. I feel like that's a safe bet, but I can't see Floyd losing. I think he's the best boxer. He's easily the best boxer of my lifetime, and I remember the end of Mike Tyson's run, and I think Floyd is the best. He's probably one of the top 5 greatest ever, if not top 3, up there with Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali. Throw Rocky Marciano in there, but I think Floyd's going to win. I think it's going to go to decision. I think it could be very similar to the Canelo one, where you just see Manny Pacquiao flinging these body hooks, and Floyd just ducking back and looking and be like, "Where are you throwing that?" Like, he just backed up and literally looked at Canelo and was like, "Where was that going?" So it could be that, or it could be incredibly boring. I don't know, but I hope it's exciting. But I have to go with Floyd in this one.
I want Manny to win. I do. I think boxing needs Manny to win. Here's the thing. I don't think Manny wins this fight. 4 years ago, yes, I would have been picking Manny. I think that Manny could have clipped Floyd and got a finish. Now, I don't think he can. Yes, Floyd is getting up there in years, but Floyd hasn't put on the same miles that Pacquiao has. Floyd's never been knocked out. Pacquiao has. Floyd hasn't suffered, vicious beatdowns. Pacquiao has. So, all these extra miles that Pacquiao has put on, that's why Floyd was so hip to take this fight now. He's not a dummy. He's been pushing it off. He knew 5 years ago, that this fight was going to happen. But he also knew that he wasn't going to win. So what's the smart thing to do? Keep dodging, keep throwing out, steroid testing, blah, blah, blah. Any excuse you can to get Pacquiao to fight all these other fights. And then when Pacquiao is slowed down, absolutely take the fight.
Exactly. And if Mayweather wasn't undefeated, then obviously, like, that Canelo fight is the second highest grossing boxing match ever, behind Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya. And that Miguel Cotto fight and Guerrero fight and Maidana fights were incredibly hyped up just because it was Floyd Mayweather. And if he had a 1 instead of a 0 in that loss column, they wouldn't nearly be as hyped up. So props for Floyd Mayweather for being a genius businessman and waiting fight. Glad it's finally here.
And he is a genius businessman. I mean, look at him. The guy, like I said, has more money than God. He could buy and sell me 100 times over. It's that simple. He's brilliant when it comes to making money. From the time he turned 20 up until now, he's done nothing but make billions of dollars. He is a business genius. There's no question about it. And he probably is the best boxer ever. I right now would say Muhammad Ali. I would throw Mike Tyson in there because I'm a Tyson fan, but Tyson was just an ass beater. He wasn't a technical boxer. Yes, he was great with what he did, but it's different. I think, unfortunately, Floyd is going to be able to dance around Manny. I think we're going to see a sparring match, essentially, and Floyd's going to dictate the pace. He's going to lead the dance. He's going to tell Manny where to go, and when Manny gets there, he's going to be pounding him with shots. So, unfortunately, I'm going Pacquiao, but I'm like you. As far as a betting man goes, absolutely. I would bet the house on Pacquiao for the simple fact he is the underdog. He does have a good shot at winning, and there's no reason to bet on Floyd. I mean, what are the margins on that? You're not going to make any money.
You had to bet like $200 to make your money back.
Yeah, so why would you even do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. But right. I'm poor, so, if I had millions of dollars, maybe it would.
If I had millions of dollars, I would be at that fight.
Exactly. And I will tell you this, it's over now, but if you were following the site, you follow us on Twitter, which is at the MMA Corner, at Josh Davis Sports, and we'll bring up Jose here. He's at Jose Youngs. Anyways, if you follow all that kind of stuff, you would have seen the tweet that we sent out about DraftKings for their fantasy MMA baseball tournament. They were run today. It was free, and the winner got an all-expense-paid trip VIP package to the fight this weekend, plus an additional $3,000 in spending cash. I think the total valued package because of the ticket prices was just under $50,000. So
must be nice.
Yes, I can tell you I didn't win. My team got smashed, but somebody did. So, all right, Jose, final thoughts. Biggest sporting event in the history of mankind.
I think this is the biggest sporting event of the since 2000, and I think it is the biggest boxing match since Mike Tyson fought Lennox Lewis. I don't think anything has even come close. I guess Canelo Mayweather, but whoever was picking Canelo to win that fight was crazy, because as soon as they announced that fight, I'm like, oh, Mayweather's going to toy with him and win, and that's exactly what he did. I think this is absolutely super competitive. Anybody could win. I think Floyd's going to win, but it's so close. These two boxers have never been more relevant, and you see like Sports Center is having specials on them. Sports Center doesn't care about combat sports whatsoever, and for them to spend basically a month on coverage, this fight costs $100. If you don't have $100, get 10 friends, pay $10 each, and watch it on a tiny 18-inch television, because you're not going to want to miss this one. This is going to be one of the biggest sporting events ever, and I am praying that whoever wins, it is a dominant win, whether Floyd or Manny dominates the whole fight or one of them gets knocked out. I am praying for a clear-cut winner, because if it goes down to a decision, and it's like the Timothy Bradley Manny Pacquiao decision where everybody in their mom knows Manny Pacquiao won that fight, except that one judge gave it to Timothy Bradley, and Timothy Bradley won. If that happens and Floyd Mayweather loses, there is going to be anarchy and chaos in Las Vegas, and it is going to be it's going to be terrible for boxing. It's going to be terrible for all combat sports. Las Vegas is going to exist by the time the sun comes up. So I am praying for a clear-cut decision, because a controversial win, like when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson, could just ruin boxing forever. So I am praying to the fight gods that there's a clear-cut winner.
Yeah, there needs to be a clear-cut winner, because this country doesn't need any more riots. I'll tell you that right now. Real quickly, before I do my final thoughts, I have to ask you, Jose, you said the biggest sporting event since 2000. So in 2000, what was the event?
What was the event like prior to, like up to 2000? Yeah. I would probably say Frazier Ali won.
Okay.
That was because they were both on like heavyweights. Everybody cares about like the heavyweight division is like the romantic. Everybody loves two heavyweights slinging it out, and they were both undefeated. And it's just Muhammad Ali is the greatest athlete of the 20th century, and I just think that was the biggest for sure.
All right. Yeah, I won't disagree. I mean, you throw that one up there. You can throw the Thrilla in Manila. You could throw Ali Foreman. You know, there were some big ones, but no, I agree. I definitely think this is the biggest that we've seen, maybe ever. Who knows?
And I might be biased because I love combat sports, but like I said, like you might be a baseball fan and you might think the 2001 World Series was just the craziest. And I love baseball. Baseball is probably my favorite sport. The 2000 World Series, like the whole country stood still and watched that. That was one of the craziest athletic moments I have ever witnessed. But the World Series happens every year. And as soon as that World Series is over, people are talking about what's going to happen next year. Like as soon as this fight's over, you don't know what's going to happen. So I think this is easily the biggest fight. Combat sports, there's nothing comparable to it. So this is easily the biggest.
You know, I have to agree. I'm a football guy. You know, my life revolves around football. I cover MMA because it's my hobby. But again, you bring up a valid point. The Super Bowl comes every year. And when my Seahawks lost this year, I was immediately thinking about next year. So after this fight, I don't even know. So while it's a great thing, it's also a bad thing. You know, we are definitely going to witness history. But I would be lying to you if I said that I'm not concerned about the fallout of said history that we're going to witness, because depending on how this fight goes, I mean, a sport that we all love is going to suffer. I mean, it's always going to be around, like I said, as long as there are two people with 4 fists, they're going to throw them at each other. But as far as big fights, I mean, after this one, if Floyd wins, it's going to be tough. But with that being said, that's a wrap, folks. That'll do it for us. I do want to remind you of all of our sponsors. BattleBomb, the only pain reliever with the knockout power, battlebomb.com. Check them out. You guys hear me talk about that stuff all the time. I use it pretty much every day. I'm an old man, and so when I train, do whatever, when my kids just beat the crap out of me, seriously, I rub myself down with this stuff. It's awesome. Yes, it's like Flexol 454 or any of that other stuff, but this stuff is legit. It's the best stuff I've ever used. I've had multiple back surgeries. I've had multiple knee surgeries. I've had both my shoulders replaced. I rub this stuff down, and yeah, it makes me feel good. DraftKings, check them out. Draft Ops, check them out. For Jose Youngs, I'm Josh Davis. Keep living the MMA Corner lifestyle. Peace out, fellas.